I was torn apart between my old identity and my new identity. And you already know that you need to step into a new identity in order to step into a new reality. And then I realized the conflict was the solution. The friction between the old me and the new me is the change. And so I'm going to tell you exactly how you can lean into this friction, lean into the conflict, so that you know that you are on the right path. And you'll know by the end of this video how you're steering off the right path, how to make sure you can play the game of stepping into your new identity, and all these emotions of anxiety, depression, is it actually working? Am I actually changing? Am I actually manifesting? Are all going to be answered. For the past 5-10 years, I've learned immensely about yoga, breathwork, meditation, spirituality, manifestation, so that I can start living my dream life. And I was fortunate and still fortunate enough to work with people so they can remove their pain and bend their reality. I've worked with a war veteran to get rid of all his PTSD triggers. He's now a published author. I helped an entrepreneur triple his income, and I'm working with a doctor where she can figure out people's heart attacks just with the power of her intuition. And so I'm going to go over exactly how to step into this new identity and honestly embrace the friction, because I had to do this, the people I've worked with had to do this, and no pain, no gain, right? So the one thing that you have to realize is, what is the problem of going from who you used to be to who you are now, right? So we have who you used to be and who you want to be. Now, everybody wants this to be like a smooth transition. Everybody wants this to be painless, happy, effortless almost. It can be. It can be effortless. But a lot of people are forgetting the nuances of the change, because in the current condition of your old identity that has limiting beliefs, that doesn't like who they are right now, they're filled with a bunch of knots. Okay? So these knots can be emotions, bad habits, bad concepts, negative self-image. You probably don't like the way you look. You probably don't like a lot of things about yourself, which creates a lot of heartache, right? And people immediately want to just jump into their diamond version of themselves, right? But how can you quickly, remove the knots and jump into the diamond version of yourself when this has taken precedence for so many years? Sure, you might see some amount of genius and some amount of manifestations pop up here and there, but for so many years, you've been in the state of, oh, I can't do this, like, oh, it's too hard, like everything sucks. Like the negativity takes more dominance, right? And so, what is really going to look like, this arrow, there's another stage between these two phases, right? This arrow is actually this. It's about emptying these emotions so that your vessel is clear, right? Because at the end of the day, you are the universe. And because these programs have been there for so long, there's no room for the universe and you to give yourself the diamond, the beautiful, shiny version of yourself, because it's too used to this. And people just want to immediately quantum leap to the best version of themselves. But the intermediate step is to empty yourself, empty the mind, empty the emotions, empty any physical tension, all tension, honestly. And so, how do you actually clear the physical tensions and mental emotional tensions? That's where the metaphysical stuff comes in. So we want to access the unknown. Okay? Because in this area, we don't know what's going to happen next, right? We don't even know if the diamond's going to come or if we're just going to revert back to our old emotions. And usually that's the seesaw, right? The seesaw of like, oh, am I going to do it or am I not? Am I going to do it or am I not? What we actually need to do, and this is, people think they know this, right? People think they know their best form, their most powerful version of themselves with the reality where they have everything. But they don't really know it. They just have some kind of idea about it based off what society has told them, based off what your parents have told, and just, consuming media. At the core, you really don't know what it's going to be like. And so, it's really important to enter the middle stage of I don't know, right? And accepting the I don't know. So, in stage 1, in stage 2, you have to enter this state of unknown before you enter the new known. Okay? Because this is known and this is also known once you get there, right? Like a person with $1 million, they're not going to keep saying, oh, wow, like, I don't know what it's like to have $1 million. I got to keep striving for it. No, they already know it. They're chill. They're relaxed. But in between, while they were learning to get money, become the person that they need to be to make $1 million, they had to enter a state of shakiness, of I don't know-ness, of unknown. And the most beautiful thing here is when you empty the negative, you make room for the positive. And honestly, the longer you can stay in the zero state, the more positive things come to you. And that's why all these yogis and all these businessmen, they meditate often, because it takes you from -1 to 0. And from 0, you can go to infinity. But how can you ever go to infinity if your space is consumed by negativity, right? What do I mean by negative? Okay, so let's break down all the negative symptoms that you're feeling. The most common things that I've seen in people are self-doubt, burnout, meaning you're physically, mentally, emotionally tired, and the worst one, confusion, which is adharma, not knowing the difference between right and wrong. Now, what is self-doubt? Right? Self-doubt is uncertainty. You don't know how your life is going to turn out in terms of relationships, in terms of money, or in terms of health. But you've been consuming bad narratives. So this uncertainty is immediately going to go to negative assumptions. And it does not take a genius to assume negativity. Of course, you don't know how things are going to turn out, but with all the media that we're consuming and shit, like, of course it's easy to say, oh, the world is going to end one day. Look at the news. Oh no, bad things are happening. Are you going to get that job promotion? Is the business going to be successful? Oh, I don't know. Most likely it's not going to. Why does this happen? It's a biological wiring to assume the negative. You don't know if the animal is going to be nice to you or not. Back in hunter-gatherer days when we were cavemen, if the animal, especially a predatory animal, is in front of us, we're going to assume that it's negative. The situation is going to be negative. We're going to assume that we are going to be killed and eaten. And so our brain defaults to negativity. So it does take a genius to be positive. It does take a level of conviction to assume that things are going to be in my favor. Now, a couple of things happen biologically, right? The mind doesn't know the difference between the mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So, in terms of, let's say, money, right? If you keep assuming that the negative is going to happen and you say, no, it's never going to work out. Let's just stick with that statement, right? It's not going to work out. Then your body is going to read that sentence as truth, because your body doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. It's going to take anything that you say in your head, the descriptions, the definitions, the narrative you tell yourself, and your body is going to release the chemicals that correspond to that statement, to this statement of, things are never going to work out in my business. There's always some kind of problem that's going to show up. And your nervous system is going to release those chemicals of cortisol and adrenaline because you're telling your body and yourself that it's not going to work out. Of course, you're going to have doubt. And so, what we want to do here is have conviction, have faith, because the opposite of fear is faith. You can either worship the devil or God, and worshiping the devil is simply fear. And so, you might as well assume the positive and have conviction that things are going to work out. It will be okay. This puts your body into relaxation. Yes, you have to be delusional, even if you're bankrupt or you're not getting any clients or things are not going well at work or in love life or whatever. You have to brainwash yourself to believe that things are going to be okay, because that takes you to zero. That takes you to calm down, okay? Again, we're just going over all the negative things in the most common person that can't get what they want, right? Self-doubt is probably the biggest, right? They have no conviction and they are enslaved by uncertainty, right? And so over here, it takes conviction to assume things are going to be positive, which will naturally relax your body. So how do you have conviction? You have to accept. You have to accept that you do have all the negativity in you. You have to accept that, yes, this is me right now, and that's okay. As soon as you say that's okay, it will be okay, things are going to work out, you've stepped one more, and it's okay to say, I don't know how I'm going to turn into a diamond, but it will be okay. You've taken one more step closer to the zero state, okay? So now, let's go to number 2. How do you deal with burnout? Burnout is simply overcooked meat. It is a burnt log. It is simply too much consumption. It is simply over usage. That's what burnout is. Because in this modern day era of you need to work hard, you need to hustle, you need to work your ass off to become successful or to get that girl or to be healthy, right? With this narrative in the mind, you're telling yourself that you're telling your body and yourself that you cannot be safe unless you're constantly doing, right? And the funny thing is, why are you doing in the first place? It's because you're filled with fear. You're filled with fear that things aren't going to work out and that if you're not taking actions, you're a failure. So with that frequency and energy in place, when you do stuff, you're just spreading out that gunk and that poison into everything that you do. And as you do things, and I've been guilty of this too, like trying to make dance videos and trying to be popular and be recognized for my dance on TikTok. I kept making videos from a place of I need to work hard to be successful. And so I burnt myself out. How can I ever attract thousands and thousands of followers if I am not spreading love and gratitude and peace? People can smell, and the universe can smell where you're coming from. Sure, if you're Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and you have this aura and conviction of I will do as just the right amount of work it takes to achieve the goal, then yeah, of course, you're spreading that conviction as you do things. But a lot of people just do more work while carrying self-doubt, which will obviously lead to no results and too much usage, right? And what do I mean by too much consumption? When you take in too many narratives that's not your own. When you take in too much dopamine that more than your body can handle. So scrolling, news, content, information overload. So over here, the best solution, and I do this every day because it's better than coffee, it's better than energy drinks, it's better than food. Do nothing. Absolutely do nothing. Your body knows how to recover. When my roommate broke his arm, they didn't do an operation. They just put a cast on him and said, yep, do nothing. The body will heal itself. Similarly, your mind and your nervous system will heal itself. You just have to give it a chance and stop doing and consuming. But it's going to be scary because you're so used to this. You're so used to having these ideas and framework that I have to be productive. And it's going to be scary to surrender because this is familiar. And it's scary to give up the familiar and to go to the unknown, even though the unknown is positive. You know that the zero state is a divine state where everything is silent and that anything can come to you if your vessel is empty. But, most people are too stuck in the familiar self-doubt burnout. Now, let's move on to confusion. So, confusion is the most tricky because you don't know what's right or wrong. But how can you? How can anybody know what's right or wrong when the brain, I hope you can tell that's a brain, is just cluttered with noise? And when it's cluttered with noise, it's just sending a signal to the universe that I am not okay. I don't know what to do. I am a victim. Bad things happen to me, myself, and I. Somebody has to come save me. I can't save myself. Bad things only happen to me. Oh, if I do this, it might not go well. Do you see the pattern that most people are in? And when it comes to what actions do I take, because of the knots and because of the victim mindset, they enter the sympathetic nervous system mode, which means fight, flight, or freeze. Argue, run away, or freeze and choke up, wide-eyed. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what to do next. And adharma, which is confusion and against the natural way of things, wants you to be in this way. It wants you to stay confused. That's how you stay in consumership, because you don't know what is right or wrong, so you mask it with dopamine. You mask this confusion with pleasure. Pleasure is like a band-aid that everybody's wearing rather than actually letting the wound heal. And so, in order to get rid of confusion, you have to go to the things that are natural. What things are natural? Nature. Do nothing. Be in nature. Use the sun. Go back to the basics of sleep, food, water, on time, less chemicals, less spice, less sugar. Just momentarily, so that the mind chatter can slow down, and when the mind is empty, there's a better chance for it to link with the heart. Then you will naturally know what the right thing to do is. But we're just been overfed with too much information and too much food, which destroys our certainty. Conviction is the only thing that you honestly need, because that tells the body it's safe, it's strong. And when you're safe and you're strong, you're not hungry for information. You can just chill. And when you're chill, your mind is quiet and your heart is loud. So then you know exactly what to do, because the intuition, inner guidance, will always lead you in the right direction. And so, these are the symptoms. This is the actual problem. And the solution is to go to zero by making sure you are consistently in this frame of mind. Because then, when your heartbeat is loud and your mind is quiet, your vessel is open to receive the infinite. I'm going to leave you with this final statement. There's a video of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar that said, stop setting goals, stop having ambitions, because that also is a limitation. If you want $1 million, you're going to be holding on to that $1 million, and that's going to create like a tangled up knot. But if you let go and enter the state of zero and keep your palm open, then the universe can give you $10 million or $20 million. But you don't know what you deserve, because you're still busy holding on and clenching on to whatever arbitrary goal that you have. And when I learned to let go, I was effortlessly able to attract and bend reality. Move to my dream city, working my dream job, and just beautiful, delightful events are happening. Just like traveling to national parks. I had an amazing birthday weekend, and it all boils down to coming back to zero. So then the universe can give me things that I can't even dream of. Always remember, no matter how much you are filled with negativity, you have the power to go to zero. Always remember, you are nothingness, so that everything can come to you. Always remember, if you have something stuck in you, you just have to let go. Always remember, Shivoham. You are Shiva. I am Shiva. There is no separation. Always remember.